Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So, today marks the start of my new series called Boundaries in Dating. And I'm honestly so excited for this. This is one of the main reasons I actually created this channel. Today's part 1, so we'll be talking about 7 reasons why Christians should date. So, how we're gonna do this is that I am gonna use this lovely book. It's really great. I honestly haven't read through the whole thing, but so far I love it. I would definitely recommend it. But like my brother told me, he said, I really want to know what kind of boundaries I should have in dating and how to date godly, but I'm not gonna read that book, so you might as well make a video about it. So this is what I'm gonna do. As I read through the chapters, I won't necessarily say a video per chapter because it depends. Some of them are really small and you can kind of put them together. So I'll kind of do a video per section. I will mainly use the information in this book, but I will also add my own opinion, some of my own experiences, and just wisdom that I've received from some really godly people who I really look up to. So that will be the format, and I really hope you enjoy this. Just so you know, I am not doing these videos because I'm great with boundaries. I honestly actually really suck, just to get that out there. So, I'm just preaching to myself here. It's a really fun situation. We learn together. But, as someone wise once said, the goal is never to be perfect, but to mature and to grow. So that's what we're here for. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Why dating? So here are 7 reasons why Christians should be dating. First reason, dating gives people the opportunity to learn about themselves, others, and relationships in a safe context. So I think something that's super important to realize in that sentence is a safe context. They actually really encourage people to date within a group of friends or within your church, letting your parents support you throughout it, your friends, and also your youth pastor or your church. So this is something I found very interesting and very relevant, because never in my life have I been in a space where I felt like I could talk to the people in my church about my dating life, It's kind of just something you do on your own, and it's not about a learning experience. You're just kind of on your own and you have to figure it out, and they're don't have sex, and yeah. But there's no guidance how do you really date in a godly way. So dating is so great for learning more about yourself, learning more about others and relationships. But that safe context is so important. When you date, you should have people around you who are praying for you, with you, people you trust you can talk to in terms of advice, things you're struggling with. Date within a safe context, and as a Christian, don't date non-Christians. It's just gonna make your life really hard, and you'll have to compromise your faith at some point, and I just don't think that's worth it ever. The second thing is dating provides a context to work through issues. So any relationship really, you will have issues, but that is how you grow. That's how you mature as a person, but you will also learn what you value in a person. Here's an example. I dated this guy when I was in high school, and he was much older than me. But his love language is not physical touch. But before that, I mostly just dated people in high school, and they're just, horny people, so they just always touch you, right? And I only then discovered how important physical touch is to me. Like, not necessarily just kissing or whatever, but like holding your hand, like touching your shoulder. I don't know. It sounds like a dumb thing, but seriously, he didn't necessarily mean it that way, but I just felt so unloved because he would just like stand so far from me, and I don't know, So, what you value in people. Then, thirdly, dating helps build relationship skills. So, don't get me wrong, I am not against people getting married to the first person they've ever dated. Of course you get these cases. But generally speaking, all relationships take practice. You have to learn how to solve problems and dissolve arguments in a way where you respect the other person. And so again, this is all practice for marriage, but also really just life. It needs to be in the right context, because if it's not, dating can be really hurtful. But if it's in the right context and you are dating for the right reasons, then it is such a great way to build your relationship skills. Fourthly, dating can heal and repair. You should never date to get healed. No, not at all. You really shouldn't. We're all broken people, but if you've been really hurt, please take it to God and only then date. But in the same sense, God can still use dating in that way. I've actually experienced this. Last year, I dated a guy who didn't work out, and we're actually great friends now. But through that process, I was just in a space where I needed to learn how to be loved and how to be someone's first choice. And so even though it was it's sad because it didn't last, and you had all these hopes and dreams, it really gave me something that I needed. It taught me how to be loved. It showed me that there are people, there are different guys out there, So I would say that relationship really helped me and healed me, even though that was not why I entered the relationship at all. God still used it in such an amazing way, and I'm so thankful for that person and for the relationship. Fifth thing, dating is relational and has value in and of itself. All relationships have value. Even if you do not end up with the person, if you keep godly boundaries, you don't give your everything to the person, but you still share your time, a part of your life that you'll never get back. And that is so valuable. Because throughout my dating life, I have not always dated in a godly way, or really even with the goal to marry, which I would never advise because it just sucks and hurts you. But even within that, all those relationships, even the ones who really hurt me, I don't regret them, because it really did add to my life. Whether it was a lesson I've learned, or at the end of the day, it made me who I am right now, and I can truly say that I am happy with where I am, who I am, and what I'm looking for right now. So all relationships have value. That being said, you shouldn't date just to date. I actually watched this video of a guy who said, disclaimer, I will stop touching my hair now. Anyway, he said, don't date if you're not ready to get married. It doesn't mean that you have to put the pressure on yourself that when you start dating someone, you have to marry them. But if you're not ready to get married, don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna start dating. Because at the end of the day, you're literally putting yourself up for hurt and you're gonna hurt the other person, because it doesn't matter if they're ready or they want to get married even later, you're not ready, so it's pointless. And you could really spend that time on something else. So the sixth thing is, dating lets someone learn what he or she likes in the opposite sex. The thing is, it's not just like, it's also things that you need or things that are good for you. I actually do believe that you could marry anyone and it can work out if you truly put God first. But the reality is that if you choose better, it can be easier and there will be less compromise. Obviously all marriages and even like relationships, they all take work no matter what. But choosing wisely, knowing what is good for your personality. Like, I have a very strong personality. I can't date someone who doesn't have a strong personality, because I will completely overpower them. Not necessarily because I want to, I just know it will happen. And I don't think that is a healthy relationship, Like, you have to be equally yoked. So I know that's good for me. I also know that I am not necessarily that great with following through. And so I know that in order for me to succeed in the things I want and need, I need someone who is better with self-control and like can motivate me to follow through. Just things I need. Then the seventh and last thing is, dating gives a context to learn sexual self-control and other delay of gratification. Oh my gosh, this is one of the most valuable things in dating. Again, this is dating in a godly context where you are honoring God's boundaries for dating and really wanting to be a godly person within your relationship. The thing about delaying of gratification is it's so hard. Oh my gosh. Especially in our society today that is obsessed with instant gratification. But the reality is, if we learn how to delay our gratification, we will grow so much in our relationship with God, because God's timing is perfect and it's usually not soon. But it will also prepare you for marriage. When you compromise, you won't always get your instant gratification. And so it will really teach you how to live without that instant gratification and to strive for something that's more valuable. And I think that is such a great and wonderful lesson that is totally worth learning. Dating within God's limits make people learn how to relate to one another while denying sexual expression. People often think that your whole marriage is like sex. When you compare the time you spend with your spouse, in total, and you take the amount of time you actually have sex, it's like 10% or less. So what are you going to do the other times when your relationship is purely based on sex or expressing your love through sexual expression? What are you going to do? How are you going to show them you love them without having sex or anything sexual? This is really important, especially in this world that is completely obsessed with sex. I don't think there's anything in the world I can name that you can't associate with sex. Seriously. The point is that dating can be a wonderful thing if you do include God in it and you respect God's boundaries for dating. And so therefore, in the rest of the series, we will explore healthy boundaries in dating, practical things in terms of sexuality and sexual expression within dating, also emotional and spiritual boundaries, because people often forget that those are just as important. And so I do think dating is such a wonderful thing within the right context. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. comment your favorite reason for dating and whether you agree with these reasons or not. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support so far. I really love your feedback. It's honestly the only reason that I'm doing this, and I hope you have a wonderful week. See you next time. Bye!